Main screen turn on. Listen to me rant, watch me play a game, or preferably try to do both at the same time. This is Discourse Display. Hello, I'm Yidoger and this is my co-commentator Nemesis. Another Nintendo Direct has been released recently, and as per usual I'll talk about it over footage of Super Mario Advance 3 Yoshi's Island, as one talks about the Big Ant's plans, while the other is a Ninty product. So it all comes together. A bit more than a week before that though, a Pokemon Direct was also published, and I suppose I'll say a few words about that as well. Sun and Moon have been announced as the next generations of games. Also, the first generation games' eShop versions can connect to Pokemon Bank, so you can transfer Pokemon from those to the latest games. And that's about it. I could speculate and theorize, but this isn't the video for that. Surprised there's nothing about a possible Pokemon Z though. I had a laugh at Miyamoto introducing himself at the beginning of the Direct, where he talks about Star Fox Zero, as if anyone doesn't know who he is. Anyway, the game is pretty much a remake slash reboot of the Nintendo 64's Lylat Wars, with alternate routes to take through levels, but it seems there will be more levels and, of course, as we've seen earlier, more vehicles, as well as an expanded amount of all range mode sections. I very much enjoyed the second Star Fox game, it being one of my favorites of all time, and I'm curious to see how this game will turn out, but not sure if I'm actually excited about it. Also, in one of the few amiibo functions thus far that I actually think is awesome, scanning Fox from the Smash series will allow you to play as the R-Wing from the classic SNES Star Fox game, as it seems complete with old school music and sound effects. Star Fox Guard is then shown as the completed version of the previously announced Project Guard. It's given a Star Fox skin purely because it wouldn't sell otherwise, since it's quite gimmicky. There's basically 12 screens to watch, and from there you need to find out where on the map stuff is happening that needs to be dealt with. Tower defense games can be fun, but this one just looks rather basic. Also has a stage building option that can be used to share levels, a la Super Mario Maker. However, it is announced that it is actually bundled together with Star Fox Zero. So that makes it not too bad a deal, but like I said, I suspect this was done purely because Guard wouldn't have sold otherwise. Also, the fact that it stars Slippy isn't exactly inviting. Splatoon updates announced, basically to improve the game. Good to see this is still worked on. And then, in a troll move, Bill Trinan talks about a game everyone is expecting, making me think some Zelda news would be shared. But instead it's the latest installment in the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic series. Yawn. Good character roster from what I can tell of the trailer though. Super Mario Maker also gets new content added. In skewers from Super Mario World, keys and locked doors, and pink coins that when collected give you a previously mentioned key. Also, Super Expert mode will be unlocked when Expert has been beaten, which has 6 difficult levels in 100 Mario modes, which unlocks new Mystery Mushroom costumes. An example of which that is shown is Tetra from the Zelda series. Tokyo Mirror Sessions Sharp FE has some footage shown, and I have to admit that while I don't have much experience with Fire Emblem, and none at all with Shin Megami Tensei, what was shown here sparked my interest, with it taking place in real-life, modern-day locations in Tokyo, and an art style that makes it seem like everything takes place on a pop concert stage. It also retains its Japanese voice acting and adds subtitles to it, which goes along better with the J-pop music and almost anime-like cutscenes that seem to fill this game. Overall, I would like to at least try this game out a bit before passing my final judgment, instead of just letting it pass by unnoticed like I thought I would during previous mentions of the game. Lost Reavers, previously announced as Project Treasure, is shown next. It's a multiplayer only game where 4 players take control of one of the characters to find treasure in tombs, while fighting off zombies. When something is found, one player needs to carry it back to a certain point on the map, while depending on the others for protection. Seems like a decent enough experience actually. A new Paper Mario game is announced afterwards, subtitled Color Splash, where color is vanishing from the newest destination Mario and Peach are visiting, and Mario has to restore them by whacking colorless objects with his hammer. Don't know what to think of this so far since information is rather limited, but Paper Mario games are typically a good time. Pokken Tournament is talked about, but doesn't really show anything that we didn't know yet. The game is out by now anyway, so I won't go much more into it here. Twilight Princess HD is mentioned of being released. Still not very interested in it overall, but I have to say that the hard mode unlocked by scanning Ganondorf's Smash Amiibo and hero mode that is in the game itself interests me, as it would all make for a more difficult and thus intense experience. My Nintendo, the successor to Club Nintendo, is briefly talked about, and Miitomo, the first mobile phone app, is shown even more briefly, but overall not enough information is given out to form any real opinion on it from what is shown here. In other Amiibo news, Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge is revealed, a free-to-download game where you scan Amiibo to play as them in Mario vs Donkey Kong-like levels. Yeah, it's free and gives your Amiibo more functions. I guess that's not too bad. Animal Crossing Amiibos and cards are talked about, but that's so far beyond my interest, I'm not wasting more time on that. Virtual Console will be getting an upgrade where it'll have SNES games for download on the new Nintendo 3DS. Launch games will be Pilot Wings, F-Zero, and Super Mario World, with more classics like the first 2 Donkey Kong Country games, Super Metroid, Earthbound, and A Link to the Past following. But the fact that the first 2 are launch games though, makes me wonder if anything new with those franchises is planned. Pocket Card Jockey by Game Freak is a game that combines solitaire with horse racing in a cartoony way. For as far as I can tell, you play the card game to unlock power-ups and level up your horse, as it's partaking in the race, so you need to do that fast-paced to actually be able to win. I used to play loads of solitaire when I was young and bored, so this seems like an interesting take on the concept. Azure Strikers Gunvolt 2 is a sequel to the first game, which apparently did well enough to warrant this. Haven't played that, but it always seems like a Mega Man X clone, which doesn't have to be a bad thing since those games are pretty awesome. Fire Emblem Fates' Revelations DLC will be released, as well as 2 new maps where you can find powerful weapons. Apparently, weekly new maps will also be added up until April. It's good to see Nintendo giving their games this kind of treatment, even if I don't play them myself. Hyrule Warriors Legends will have its release soon, though nothing new on that front is announced, but there will be a season pass for 4 DLC packs that will be released in the future. Physical copies will also come with a transfer code to get the new characters in the Wii U version, which is great, though I would expect those also get released as DLC later on, just so you wouldn't have to buy a whole new game just for a handful of new playable. Medley is also announced as a new character that will be free alongside the first DLC pack, so that's pretty sweet. Another drawing game is shown in Disney Art Academy. Not a game for me. Some of the classes in Bravely Second are shown, but it's not interesting enough for this video to talk about that in depth. The demo was also mentioned, but that one is old news by now. Dragon Quest VII is shown, having been completely remade and retranslated for this remake. I've mentioned it before, but I felt DQ8 was amazing, and this seems right in the same alley. Monster Hunter Generations is shown, which seems to be more of what the other games were about. Was always interested in these, but never got around to them, so I can't say I have any feelings about it. If you play this game with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate save data on your 3DS, you will unlock some bonus content in it. Also, the game will have a costume set that makes your character look like Fire Emblem's Marth. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Small crossovers and cameos like these should happen more often. Metroid Prime Federation Forces talked about trying to explain why this game deserves to exist. Didn't convince me. While the gameplay seems solid, though basic, I still don't like the art style, and much like Star Fox Guard before, this is only slapped with a Metroid skin because otherwise no one would look twice at it. Rhythm Heaven Megamix for the 3DS takes minigames from the previous installments, along some new ones. I played the second game in the series, though that was the first one released overseas, way back on the DS, and had a fantastic time with it. But I'm not sure if this is something I'll be picking up, even if I haven't played any of the other installments in the series. I'm sure it'll be just as fun as the handheld game I played all those years back, but compilation games like this just don't sit well with me and feel purely like a cheap cash-in. New Kirby game announced for the 3DS as well, which incorporates the same mechanic of hopping between the fore and background as was present in the previous installment. In this game, Kirby can also ride mecha armors, which honestly just feels out of place in a Kirby game. Also, the name Planet Robobot is pretty terrible. A second multiplayer mode is also announced where up to 4 Kirbys join forces against foes, who I presume are boss characters from the main game. There's 4 roles to take, so a party will probably need a mixture of those to succeed. You can actually also download this to play it without owning a physical copy. Also, amiibo functionality where, when scanned, the amiibo in question will grant Kirby a copy ability, which is actually pretty genius. Some will give random abilities, while others have set powers to bestow, like Link giving Kirby the sword powers. Also, Kirby Line Amiibo announced, for now consisting of Kirby, DDD, Meta Knight and Waddle Dee, which when tapped will give Kirby a costume based on that figure, as well as a power that you can't get otherwise. Overall, not a terribly great direct, I feel. Some nice announcements, but overall nothing too exciting. Hopefully the next one will reveal more interesting things. So until then, see you next video.